Hey guys, okay, here we go. Welcome to economics class. A little bit earlier in the week to give me a little bit more time to get ready for your psychology. I'm excited about psychology this week, but I also want to make sure that we do it in the correct way and not a la carrera. Okay, so here we go. We're in chapter 5 todavía with economics. So get out your notes. Make sure you're taking notes of all this stuff. Trying to just introduce the little concepts by little concepts so they stick in your head, right? So that they're not just like, oh, okay, I went through that class, I have no idea what she said anyway, let's keep going with our lives. Because a lot of these words, a lot of this vocabulary helps you to function whether you're in business or not in business, because business operates the world, okay? So we're in chapter 5, productive market economy. Remember we talked about last week a bunch of different well, not a bunch of different, a few different types of economies, and we'll review those again today, and then go back into talking about profit in an economy. Profit and productivity, okay, that's going to be our focus today, especially what's called the profit motive, okay, so let's get into it. Do you remember what? What is a traditional economic system? Anybody remember? What is a traditional economic system? Okay, I hope you were thinking about it. A traditional economic system, remember, is a system used in like a small community that is still based on family, heritage, and only survival mode, right? It's not talking about a lot of profit. It's not talking about a lot of gain. It's not talking about a lot of economic decisions. It's based on customs, traditions, and intercambiar, exchange, trade, okay, to survive. Sometimes it's a lot of times there's a partial amount of poverty in those kinds of systems, so they're based mostly on keeping families together, keeping small communities together, and not so much prospering for anything else or bringing anybody outside in, right? A command economy is what? Think about it. A command economy is socialism, communism, those that control more than the people do. The government makes the decisions. The entity that we can't touch makes the decisions for things instead of the consumer, right? What's the difference between public sector and private sector? Public sector is the government, and private sector are the individuals making the decisions with their purchases, right? Remember how an individual makes choices with his purchases through market signals. What he buys says they like it. What they won't buy says they won't buy it either at that price or because of the quality or because no one's interested, right? Those are market signals. What is the difference between determining quantity and production in free market and versus command economy? What's the difference in determining quantity and production? Well, in a market economy, supply and demand determines that, because supply and demand is controlled by what? The individual consumers, right? Okay, they're market signals, and command, who controls it? The government. Remember, the command economy says that the public sector is more powerful than the private sector. The market economy says the private sector is more powerful than the public sector. They both have to work together, but it depends on who has the control. Okay, so remember we saw this box last week. In a market economy, the interaction of demand and supply determines what shall be produced. But in the command economy, the central authority, that's the government, determines how much of a good will be produced. So here we go. We're going to go over words to know. There's important words here in this section that you need to know, beginning with the word profit motive. So write that one down. And listen while you write, por favor. Just say, you guys know I conocer you, okay? I know you. You're going to be writing that thing down, not listening to me. Listen to me. Okay, a profit motive, you can determine what a profit motive is almost by looking at the name. Motive of what? You have a motive of profit, okay? You have ganas to do something because you're going to gain something. That's what it says, basically. When each person who sells or buys in a market economy does so because he hopes to profit, to gain something, in the sense that he tries to exchange his goods or money for something of greater value, okay? something of greater value. Nemo, you're going to trade it for something of lesser value. That's why you have to check the prices of things. Are you really getting what you're paying for? The profit motive. That I'm only going to buy or sell something because I'm going to gain something from it. Okay, stop the video if you need to see more. Remember, don't write all the words, just write the important stuff. Okay, another word that you need to know is depreciation. Depreciation is something that a lot of people have to take into consideration. Sadie and Jose maybe can connect this word over to consumer math. We talk about things losing value. So depreciation is descension or lowering of the value of goods that is caused by wear and time. Wear means that you're using it, okay? For instance, I was saying this in consumer the other day. When you buy a car, you could buy a new car and it immediately depreciates in value. As soon as you you get a new car, as soon as you've had it for more than an hour, it's not new anymore. And you can't sell it for new, and you can definitely not sell it for anything more than you bought it for, unless you're trying to engañar anybody, but not for the depreciation, you're not going to sell it. Things that go up in value are houses, gold, stuff like that, but things that go down in value are anything else that you buy. A book goes down in value, jewelry goes up in value sometimes, okay, but a car definitely goes down in value, things like that, because the more you use them, the more they don't have the value that they used to have of being new, okay? Profit is a word that we obviously can just say ganancia, the thing that you gain, right? But there's actually a couple of different opinions about what profit is, depending on what area you work in and depending on what perspective that you have. But here's the economic definition, kind of, or the accountant definition. You're going to see what I mean by all that in a second. Profit is the excess of the total revenue paid by buyers for goods over the seller's total expenses of producing those goods, okay? Revenue minus expenses equals profit. That's what you need to know. Revenue minus expense. Revenue is what you bring in minus what you already paid to bring it in, okay? So if you're selling chicken, well, you're getting $20 a chicken. That's exagerado. You're getting $20 a chicken. Well, how much did you pay for the chickens, for cleaning them, for cutting them, for cooking them, for the employees, etc., etc.? You minus all those expenses, and that is your profit. The difference between a couple different people is what do they count for expenses, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, another word that you definitely need to know is opportunity cost, okay? Now, this is kind of self-explanatory too, but opportunity cost is the cost of the opportunity, meaning that what is the cost of giving up one opportunity in order to pursue another, okay? So you pick one opportunity, but you left one behind. What are you giving up there, okay? So we'll go into these in the notes, but think about it like this. You split up the two opportunities. You chose this one. Everyone's looking at this one and saying like, oh, that was a great opportunity. You gained all this stuff, etc., etc. But you're the only one that knows that you gave up a lot of stuff for that opportunity too. This stuff that you gave up, that's your opportunity cost, okay? Wage of management is another important thing that I actually had never heard of, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Wages is your salario, okay? So, or your pago, right? So wage of management means this. Let's say that Angelo has his own business, okay? Angelo, you have your own business. You're the owner of the business and you're also the boss, okay? So you are running the business. You're there every day. You're involved in all the transactions because you're the owner. You don't want to make someone else the jefe. You say, I can do this job. I want to do the job so that the company is run the way I want the company to run. Okay, so you're getting like all this money from running this business, from having this business, and you say, look, I've made this much money. Well, economists will tell you, yes, you made that much money, but where's your wage of management? A lot of that money is not your profit from the business. A lot of that money is just your salario for being the jefe, okay? And then the little bit above that is your profit for being the owner. Okay, that's wage of management. The owners have to remember that they're also doing the job of the jefe, the job of the manager, which means that some of their profit that they think is a profit is really just salary for the job that you're doing. Not so much that your company is getting a bunch of profit, okay? Kind of a downer, kind of a negative thing, but it's good to know. And then I'm actually going to skip the word equity because that is not gonna come up in this lesson like I thought, and I thought I erased it and I didn't. I'm gonna leave it there now to not confuse anybody about what the recording looks like and the screen, okay? So don't write down that letter F. I hope you're listening to me. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, here we go. Let's get into profit motive and different meanings of profit. Do not look at all this and say like, hey, Mitchell, you're making us write too much. I told you you don't have to write everything. If you listen to me, I'll give you the bottom line. Okay, here we go. It says in letter A, profit motive is the reason that a person is willing to trade certain goods, whether they are tangible items or labor and entrepreneurship, for other goods that have a greater value to them, a greater personal value to them. Okay, listen, guys. Profit motive is this. People are only going to do stuff if they get something from it, okay? They're willing to trade. Tangible items, things that they can touch, things that they own. Labor, they're willing to work for it. They're willing to give their entrepreneurship for it, which means they're willing to take risks to get it, right? For things that have a greater personal value to them. But look at that word, personal value. It doesn't always mean money, you guys, and we're going to get into that at the end of this thing. There's going to be times where people go into business, they could be making big money at a different job, but they want time with their family. They want time to dwell on the little things in life. They want to be their own boss, and they've dreamed about it all their life, and they don't really care that they could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars somewhere else. They want that business for themselves. Guys, there's going to be some of you, I was reading your some of your plans for the university. There are some of you that say, you know what, studying to get a better job is not really that exciting to me. I'd rather do something with my hands and make my money that way, poco a poco, or sometimes it's even more profitable, and you get to make your own hours, and you get to help people with it, and different stuff like that, right? So profit motive is not just about like, oh, I'm going to get more money, get more money, get more money. No, it's about getting the things that are valuable to you, okay? So you have to think about what's valuable to you. Some of you guys put things that it's not about making the money. It's about doing something that you love to do. You love art, you love architecture, you love design, you love different things, and that's what you want to study so that you can use that passion to do what you want to do. My mom had told me that before, you know, I might call her and I might be stressed about it, stressed about how much work we have to do or how tired we are and different stuff like that. But one time she told me, she's like, yeah, Jessica, but you're doing something that you love. And I've been in a job for over 30 years for something that I don't love, that I just do because it provides for the family. What a blessing that you can be doing something that you love. And to her, that has been huge because the profit motive sometimes hasn't been there. She knows the need has been there, that she has to provide for the family, that they need to be able to retire and still have money. But the personal value of satisfaction for doing a job she wants to be doing, she hasn't had. Okay, look at letter B. The amount of freedom that individuals have to base their actions in accordance with the profit motive is one of the major differences between a market economy and a command economy. So ding, 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 difference between market economy and a command economy is what? The freedom that you have to use your profit motive, okay? That if you're motivated to do it for profit, you can do it, because in a command economy, you cannot. Okay, here we go, keep going. Okay, continuing with profit motive. Unless forced or obligated, sellers and buyers do not normally engage in exchange when they cannot expect to gain anything. So there's like a little rule for profit motive. If there's no profit, there's nothing to gain, and like I said, it's not always money, but if there's nothing to gain, then they probably won't do it. Okay, let's get into different meanings of profit. Okay, there is look at letter D, there is a difference in meanings in the word profit. Number one, in general, profit usually means any kind of gain one receives in return for labor. So you're going to think of profit like your ganancia, your salario, your pago, right? That's your profit. What do I gain? But to an accountant, profit means the total revenue minus the amount of money spent. So listen to this. Listen to this. Here's what the meaning of expenses for an accountant, for somebody in contabilidad means. Somebody that just deals with stuff on paper. They don't deal with whether you feel happy being a boss or whether things are going well in your family, different like that. They're just looking at paper. Do you have a positive profit or you have like a negative income? What's going on here, right? They say profit is the total amount of revenue, what you bring in, minus the amount of money spent and the cost of depreciation. Okay, so that means like if you have assets, let's say you have a building or you have a car or you have, like a vehicle for the job, for the business, are those things depreciating in value? Because by the way, houses can depreciate in value too. I'm just saying that they can also appreciate in value. They can also go up. So you need to take every year, what companies do is they estimate their depreciation value. All of our máquinas, they're losing value, how much value, and you have to put that into your contabilidad. So you put that number down for the loss of value because you can't sell those things for the prices that you bought them for. So you've lost value, you've lost the opportunity to make that money, right? But to an economist, profit means revenue minus expenses too. However, expenses include opportunity costs. And expenses include opportunity costs, and we're about to see an example of what that means. So an economist does talk about how you feel and what you've given up. Okay, what have you given up to do what you're doing now, and does it weigh out? Okay, so let's see what opportunity cost looks like that. Okay, you don't have to write anything down for these examples. I'm going to give you 2 examples of opportunity cost, and then in the end, when there's some questions at the end, it is going to ask you to give an example of opportunity cost in life as well, to prove your understanding of what it all means, okay? Look what it says. Before becoming an entrepreneur, which is a person that owns their own business, right, starts their own business, Mr. Smith worked for General Motors at a salary of $71,000 a year. He sold $10,000 worth of GM stock, inversiones, right, to provide himself the capital to get his business started. Okay, so he sold $10,000 worth of stock. Stock is something that goes up in value all the time, but sometimes it can go down in value. It's a riesgo, it's a risk. Okay, but when he sells that stock, now all of a sudden, does he have the opportunity for his money to grow? Not in stock, not very fast, because he just took his money out, okay? So in his first year of business, he bought $10,000 worth of saplings, those are little trees, and paid his part-time workers $7,000. All other expenses amounted to $5,000. By the end of the year, he had sold the little saplings for $25,000. Woohoo! He bought them at $10,000, sold them at $25,000. Sounds great, right? But listen, he decided to sit down and calculate how well his business had done its first year. Mr. Smith first calculated his profit the way that an accountant would, and subtracted the cost of the saplings, labor, and other expenses from his total revenue. The resulting figures seemed to indicate that he had made a profit of $3,000. He did make a profit, which is a good thing, but is it a big profit? No. So listen. Mr. Smith realized, however, that running the business kept him from using his time, money, and resources elsewhere. The opportunity cost of his labor, or the amount of money that he could have earned if he spent his time at his best alternative, was $71,000. So remember, he gave up a job that was giving him $71,000 a year to work at his own business, where he was probably working more hours, more stress, okay, because what if the saplings didn't sell, right? Okay, and that's where his income came from, to make $3,000. So so look, yeah, it looks like great on paper. He made a profit of $3,000, but he gave up $71,000. It says this is what he could have earned if he had stayed at GM, where he was getting paid well for doing a job for which he had been specially trained. The money tied up in the business could have been earning dividends from GM stock in the amount of $2,000 a year. So now that stock that he had already put in there, $10,000, it was growing $2,000 a year, so he lost another $2,000. Altogether, Mr. Smith had opportunity costs of $73,000 last year, and when he subtracted this amount from his $3,000 profit, he saw that he had actually lost $70,000. You can see that Mr. Smith did not earn a profit at all, but made a loss by going into the tree business. If he does not expect the figures to change in the near future, he will probably decide to go back to work for GM, unless the satisfaction he receives from running his own business makes up for the amount of money that he could potentially earn. So look what it says right there, unless the satisfaction he receives from running his own business. Okay, so that's the only way that he's going to keep going with his business, is that he just loves it so much to not be working for GM anymore, or not be working for a company, and to be his own boss and spend time with his family and different stuff like that. Or maybe now it's a side job. Maybe he could retire, but now all of a sudden he's just going to make $3,000 a year doing this tree thing that he loves. Okay, but the opportunity costs are big. Here's another example of it. Okay. To show opportunity cost can be subjective, reflecting the personal value of the alternatives to the individuals making the choices. Let us look at a simpler example. So remember, opportunity cost depends on you most of the time. Assume that you are thinking of going to your school's basketball game on Thursday night. Okay, our school doesn't have basketball, but assume you are going to a basketball game on Thursday night. The price of the ticket is $5, and the expected refreshments, that's your Coca-Cola and stuff like that, will cost $2. You say to yourself, the amount of enjoyment I will get from the game is surely more than $7. But then you begin to think of the opportunity costs, which are not measured in money. For example, you have a big science exam on Friday, and you're like, I'm a porta. Okay, yeah, but maybe you're like this close to getting the faja again if you get a bad nota, okay? And so you have a big exam on Friday, and if you go to the game, you will have less time to study for the test. If you fail it, you're going to be grounded for several weeks. So your parents have already told you you're castigado for several weeks if you fail this exam. The opportunity cost of missed study time could be greater if you flunk or fail the exam than the pleasure you got from going to one game. Because think about it. Several weeks castigado, one game. Just saying. You therefore decide to stay home and study. Woohoo! And seeing the team in action has a much higher cost to you than just $7 you would spend on admission and food. Okay? There's opportunity costs. So opportunity costs are, is it worth giving up? But hey, did you guys know that actually a lot of businesses around the world don't even make a large profit? What? Then why are you going to be a business owner if you're not going to make a large profit? And why not? I see a lot of big businesses making profit. Amazon, different places like that, right? Okay, but it's rare. Amazon does something that nobody else can do. Apple does something that nobody else can do. Okay, but a lot of businesses have problems with their profit, just saying. And here's 2 reasons why. Number 1, the laws of supply and demand are allowed to work without interference, so a business cannot raise the prices it charges for its products above that which its competitors are charging. So look, it's good for us, but businesses don't earn too much of a profit, you guys, because the market won't let them. We individuals have so much power that the supply and demand helps prices stay down, because think about it. If you're selling t-shirts over here in Pacer, but Carrion is selling t-shirts over there in Carrion, you can't buy a shirt for $30 over in Pacer if Carrion is willing to sell that same shirt for $15. Pacer's going to go out of business, so Pacer has to stay close to Carrion or offer a shirt that is like super mega better than the other store. Okay? So it keeps the prices down because they have to compete against each other. Number 2, most businesses have many expenses beyond what you normally think of as the 4 factors of production. So yeah, they might be making a lot of money bringing it in, but they're also spending a lot of money that you're not thinking about. I'll show you right now. Okay, you don't have to write all these down. You can just write a few examples. All these expenses have to be paid for before profit can be calculated. Look. Cost of natural resources, which is the land and other raw materials, cost of labor, cost of obtaining your capital, cost of rewards for entrepreneurship, cost of taxes, cost of seguro, insurance, cost of transportation, cost of utilities, that's your lights, that's your water, that's your gas, different stuff like that, interest on loans, your préstamos, casualty losses, whether or not you have emergencies, flood, fire, damage, depreciation, loss of value, maintenance, so you have to repair things, Security measures. You have to pay somebody to secure it, have video cameras, different stuff like that. Advertising, goodwill contributions, that you give money to other people to be a good community business. Lawyers and bookkeeper fees, so abogados, right? Contabilidad. Cost of abiding by changing industry regulations to stay with the law costs a lot of money. Obsolescent inventory, that's inventory that depreciates in value, okay? That goes down in value if you keep it in stock too long. Robbery, extortion, pilferage, so people taking advantage of you, people stealing things, right? Payment for risk taking, cost of changes in social and economic environments. Payment for risk taking too is like, you're going to try to sell a product here, it didn't work, okay, you lost a lot of money. Cost of changes in social and economic environment and warehouses, your bodegas, and different stuff like that for other storage costs. So, there's a lot more expenses than you think about to own a business. Not to discourage, but to be wise. And then the one I explained a little bit before, but I'll look at it again with letter B. One expense that some small business owners fail to take into account is the wage of management. This is the wage is what it would cost people who run their own establishment to hire managers to run the businesses for them. So let's say it like this. Let's put numbers on it. Let's say supposedly your company makes $50,000 in profit this year. Okay, $50,000 in profit this year. However, you were the jefe. Okay, and you would normally pay your jefe, if it weren't you and you had to hire somebody from the outside, you would pay him $40,000 a year. Okay, because in your area, that's what managers are getting for small businesses, and you got to be competitive with your salaries or he's going to go somewhere else, okay? So you have to pay him $40,000 a year. Then what profit did you make? $10,000. Only $10,000, not $50,000 like you thought, okay? So wage of management, because you say, okay, well, I was the boss, so you made that money. Yeah, but you need a salary, right? You need to pay your expenses at home, right? You need to buy your groceries, right? So there go your $40,000 and you only had $10,000 in profit, your wage of management. Okay, so in your notes you had a 1 and 2 and then A and B. So now you're back on 3 and 4, okay? After all of that, after all the expenses that you never thought that you were going to have, the wage of management, the fact that it's hard to get a profit, after all of that, there are still plenty of real entrepreneurs working to develop and market new products, whose efforts will someday be rewarded with a handsome profit. So yeah, for all the companies that are going to fail, or all the companies that are only going to get this much of profit in their life, hit it big. Okay, entrepreneurs that find something that nobody else can provide except you because you found a need and met it. Okay, and put a patent on it. That means that you bought the rights so nobody can copy it from you. Okay, and you can make it big. But look what it says in number 4. You might be thinking in your head, well, I want to own my own business, but like, if I don't make a huge profit, it's not that big of a deal. I just want to have like a comfortable house, a comfortable life with my family. That's what it says in number 4. And also the profit motive is not the only reason that entrepreneurs, big or small, are in business. Okay? It's not always the money. It's adventure, it's memories, it's family, it's compassion, it's ministry. Okay, I can help people with this. I can do something big with this. I can make extra money with this. I can do this with my wife. I can do this with my husband. We can do this as a family. So there's so many other reasons why you have your own business. Okay, and so you have to decide, is it worth it, right? And it's not always about the money. And it shouldn't always be about the money, especially for Christians. Okay, so here are your questions. I'm going to go over them really quickly. You do not have to write the questions down, just write the answers, but you can take a picture of them or whatever, or take a screenshot of them so you can do them later. Explain why there is more risk in putting money into a business enterprise than in depositing it in a savings bank in a country with a stable economy. So they're saying, what's the risk of putting money into a business instead of putting money into a cuenta de ahorro? Okay, what's the risk? Why is it more risky? Number 2, many people who run their own businesses would have bigger incomes if they took jobs from established employers. They might also obtain various fringe benefits such as medical insurance and vacation pay that they do not have on their own. Why then are many men and women running their own business? So look, there's so many people in the world that could go to big companies. They could get insurance, they could get benefits, they could get a bigger salary, but they decide to run their own business. Why? Give your own example of opportunity cost in life. Okay, give your own example of opportunity cost in life, like I gave you 2 during this lesson. And number 4, do you think it's fair when owners of company make a big profit? Why or why not? So there's certain companies that never make a big profit. Some companies make a huge profit. Is it fair? Why or why not? Thank you. Okay, guys, have a great day. Hope you guys are desarrollando una mente tan economical, okay? That you're learning how to think like an economist, because that's going to help you be successful in life no matter what you do, because you're going to be thinking about how to be wise with your money, which is going to affect you and affect your family and affect the way that you can serve God sometimes and the money that you can put into different ministries, okay? Bye, guys. Have a great day.